Lightning Rod is a wooden launch roller coaster only found in Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. In this video, I'm going to go fully in depth with everything I like about it, including the layout and the train, and also get a little nitpicky. So without further ado, let's start with the stats. This coaster has a drop length of 165 feet, top speed of 73 miles an hour, track length of 3,800 feet, and we all know that's manufactured by Rocky Mountain Construction, or of course for short, RMC. The actual height of the coaster is unknown, but it is roughly 200 feet. So before you actually go and ride Lightning Rod, you're first going to board your trains. These are the classic RMC trains with the grab bars. They were updated just a few months ago, but something odd that I noticed was that the front facade of the car wasn't there. And I knew that they removed that before, but I didn't realize that it was still gone. I didn't know that Dollywood would decide to remove it completely, but they did. And it provided a great view and almost felt like a floorless coaster on an RMC. And I probably preferred this over to when I rode Steel Vengeance front row because you feel so open, and I really enjoyed that. And overall, the lap bars are very comfortable. They will probably come down further during the ride. Of my 4 rides I got on Lightning Rod, I believe the lap bar came down further 2 or 3 of those 4 times. But I do remember that my last ride, though, was the lap bar did not come down, so I wasn't stapled at all, and I kept flying out of my seat, and it was really, really great. Now, before I break down the POV, let's discuss smoothness. Now, I've heard from other coaster YouTubers that Lightning Rod is rough, and guys, let me tell you, Lightning Rod is not rough. I rode it pretty much all around the train. I got a front row ride. I rode also close to the back and in the middle, so I pretty much know how all the rows feel. But maybe in the back rows it did feel a little bit shakier, but in no way at all was it rough. Like in the front row it felt basically glossy smooth. Like maybe not Steel Vengeance smooth, but it did feel glossy smooth. So no guys, Lightning Rod is not rough. So now I'm going to go in depth with the layout of this coaster. Full credit goes to Upstop Media for this POV. So first you take a right hand turn out of the station, and you go a little forward, and as soon as you hit the slope, you just go zooming 45 miles an hour up the launch track. Super forceful. And then you hit the part of the ride themed to Dolly Parton, and I was slightly underwhelmed because even though I rode it obviously when it was trimmed at the top, like it's been since 2017, but I kind of wish that there was a little bit more airtime on that first hill, but there wasn't. That's okay. Then you hit the 165-foot drop. I believe the angle of descent is like 78 degrees. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's pretty good, but like not the best drop ever. And then you go up the wave turn. And this element was awesome. Super strong airtime. It's kind of like gang ejector, but you're being tilted sideways. Provides great laterals and great airtime. Loved it. And then I go speeding a little longer on the track, and then you hit this sort of outer bank turn. It doesn't exactly have a name, but it's definitely an outer bank turn. I would say that was probably the most forceful moment of airtime on the entire ride. Not kidding. Love that part. Then you hit another off-axis airtime hill, then followed by another airtime hill, before entering the quadruple down. This is one of the most famous coaster elements of all time, and it did not disappoint. These are 4 insanely strong moments of ejector, each one being better than the other. They're all just ridiculous. Like, the word I would describe for this ride is just aggressive. Like, every moment of airtime, there's no weak part of Lightning Rod. But let me just say something. This airtime hill coming on the screen right now, this 4th one on the quad down, was second to the outer bank turn, the strongest moment of airtime on the whole ride. I'm not kidding. And then you also have this last little bunny hop. Well, no, there's one more. And then you hit this non-inverting half loop, which is a pretty forceful bank turn. Like, I didn't gray out or anything, but it was pretty nice. And then you have one more puff of airtime into the brakes. And guys, that's it. That's Lightning Rod. That's the layout. I'm personally a big fan of it. And now, the moment a lot of you have been waiting for. you guys probably want to know if I prefer Lightning Rod or Steel Vengeance. And I have the answer, guys. Yes, there is one of these coasters I prefer. And you're going to find out right now. But first, let me explain a bit. So, what Lightning Rod does better than Steel Vengeance is that overall, the elements are just superior. So, I think the wave turn, the outer bank, the quad down, and just the overall aggressiveness of the ride is just, overall better than Steel Vengeance. Like, Steel Vengeance does it really well too. But I do think the Lightning Rod is a little bit more of an insane ride, if you ask me. Steel Vengeance, though, is a much longer ride. And even though a Lightning Rod packs in more, it is nice to have a longer ride once in a while. So that is my comparison between Lightning Rod and Steel Vengeance. Lightning Rod's a more extreme coaster, but Steel Vengeance has a longer layout. Now, do I prefer extremeness or duration? In this case, I would take a longer ride over a more intense ride. So yes, guys, I prefer Steel Vengeance over Lightning Rod. Just slightly, though. Just slightly. Please, if you're a Steel Vengeance hater, please don't hate, don't rant in the comments. I really don't appreciate that. It's only by a very, very, very tiny bit. I'm a huge, huge fan of Lightning Rod. In fact, some days I would probably prefer riding Lightning Rod over riding Steel Vengeance. If they were in the same park, I might go with Lightning Rod first once in a while. So yeah, that's my opinion between Lightning Rod and Steel Vengeance. So now it's time for Lightning Rod's final score. And I don't think this will be a surprise to any of you. Yes, of course, I'm giving Lightning Rod a perfect 10 out of 10. Enough said. This coaster is absolutely unbelievable. Even if I prefer Steel Vengeance by the slightest bit, I seriously think that these two coasters, Lightning Rod and Steel Vengeance, are the two greatest coasters in the world. Find me, Micah, I really don't see Intimidator 305 beating these two coasters. I mean, Lightning Rod just does everything perfectly. It's an unparalleled experience. Everything from the launch to the brake run. And that's why I recommend all of you to go out and ride Lightning Rod if you haven't already. It is just a ridiculous experience. And for more Dollywood related videos, stay tuned. And I'll catch you guys later.